Most Christians struggle with money, not because they lack faith, but because they misunderstand what the Bible actually says about wealth. Many believe that money is evil, that financial success is unspiritual, or that praying alone will bring prosperity. But the truth is, God cares about your financial life, and He has given clear instructions on how to manage money wisely. The problem? Most people never apply them. Think about it. Why are some believers drowning in debt while others thrive financially? Is it luck? A special blessing? Or could it be that those who prosper have simply unlocked biblical principles that most Christians ignore? The Bible contains powerful financial secrets, proven strategies that can transform your finances forever. If you've ever felt stuck, worried about bills, or frustrated with your financial situation, this message is for you. You don't have to live in financial stress. God has a plan for your prosperity. And in this video, we're going to uncover the biblical truth about money, wealth, and financial success, so you can break free from limiting beliefs and start applying God's financial principles today. The Bible and money. What few Christians know. Many people believe that the Bible condemns money and wealth, but this is a distorted view of Scripture. In fact, God talks about finances more than He talks about heaven and hell combined. There are over 2,350 verses on money, and Jesus used financial parables to teach deep spiritual lessons. This shows us that God cares about how we manage our resources and that prosperity can be a blessing when aligned with His principles. However, the issue is not money itself, but the love of money. 1 Timothy 6:10, which can lead to greed and idolatry. If money were inherently bad, God would not have blessed so many faithful servants with wealth. Abraham, David, and Solomon were extremely prosperous, but the difference was that they placed their trust in God, not in riches. Psalm 24:1 reminds us, "The earth is the Lord's, and everything in it, the world and all who live in it." This means we are merely stewards, managing the resources God entrusts to us. When we understand this principle, we begin to use money as a tool to fulfill God's purpose, rather than as an end in itself. Another point rarely discussed is that poverty is not a divine purpose, but a condition that can be reversed through wisdom and obedience. Proverbs 10:22 states, "The blessing of the Lord makes rich, and He adds no sorrow with it." The question is, are we seeking wealth in the right way? Many Christians believe that prayer alone is enough to prosper, but the Bible teaches that blessings come through work, discipline, and knowledge. Proverbs 13:11 reinforces this. "Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it." If the Bible teaches so much about money, why do so few Christians talk about it? Unfortunately, many fear appearing greedy or feel guilty for desiring prosperity. But this mindset needs to change. When we understand that God has called us to be channels of blessing, we realize that well-managed prosperity not only benefits us, but also enables us to bless others. And this leads us to the next point: how to develop a biblical abundance mindset. The biblical abundance mindset, how to think like God about wealth. Most people are raised with a scarcity mindset, believing that money is limited, that prosperity is reserved for a select few, or that financial success and faith cannot coexist. But the Bible presents a completely different view. God is a God of abundance, not lack. John 10:10 makes this clear. "I came that they may have life and have it abundantly." When we align our mindset with God's truth, we stop thinking like the world, filled with fear and limitation, and start seeing wealth as a resource meant to fulfill His purpose on earth. Many Christians unknowingly block their own financial growth because they see wealth as something to feel guilty about. But if we are called to help others, how can we do that if we ourselves are struggling? The truth is, God desires us to thrive, not just survive. Deuteronomy 8:18 states, "But remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the power to create wealth, confirming His covenant." Wealth, when pursued with wisdom and integrity, is part of God's divine plan, not something to be ashamed of. A biblical abundance mindset doesn't mean chasing money at all costs. It means trusting that God's provision is limitless. It means breaking free from a poverty mentality and stepping into the role of a wise steward. Proverbs 10:22 reminds us, "The blessing of the Lord makes one rich, and He adds no sorrow with it." This shows us that true wealth is not just about accumulating money, but about receiving God's favor and managing resources in a way that brings peace, not stress. When we truly embrace an abundance mindset, we stop seeing opportunities as scarce and begin to recognize that God can provide in unexpected ways. Instead of worrying about what we lack, we start asking, How can I use what I have to multiply and bless others? And that leads us to the next crucial point, the true path to prosperity. Understanding that faith and action must always work together. The true path to prosperity. Faith and action work together. Many people believe that faith alone is enough to bring financial success, while others think that only hard work matters. But the Bible teaches that true prosperity comes when faith and action work together. James 2:26 states, "Faith without works is dead." This means that praying for financial blessings while refusing to take action is like expecting a harvest without planting any seeds. God provides the resources, wisdom, and opportunities, but it's our responsibility to move in obedience and put in the work. Look at the story of the widow in 2 Kings 4:1-7. She was in financial distress, but instead of simply giving her money, God, through the prophet Elisha, asked her, "What do you have in your house?" She had only a little oil, but when she took action, gathering jars and pouring what she had, God multiplied it into abundance. This shows us that God works with what we have, but we must take the first step. Sitting back and waiting for financial miracles without action is not faith, it's presumption. Prosperity also requires wisdom and diligence. Proverbs 21:5 teaches, "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty." This means that reckless financial decisions, chasing get-rich-quick schemes, or failing to plan will only lead to financial struggles. Instead, true faith leads to strategic action, investing wisely, managing money with integrity, and working towards long-term financial goals. When faith and action align, financial breakthroughs happen. Praying for success while actively learning, investing, and improving is the key to biblical prosperity. Trusting God doesn't mean doing nothing. It means moving forward, even when things seem uncertain. And this brings us to the next important lesson: why planning and financial discipline are essential according to the Bible. The importance of planning and financial discipline. According to the Bible, many people struggle financially not because they lack opportunities, but because they lack a plan. The Bible makes it clear that financial success is not accidental. It requires wisdom, strategy, and discipline. Proverbs 21:5 teaches, "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty." This means that those who plan and remain disciplined will see their wealth grow over time, while those who act impulsively will struggle. Financial freedom is built intentionally, not randomly. One of the most powerful biblical principles about planning is found in Luke 14:28. "For which of you, desiring to build a tower, does not first sit down and count the cost, whether he has enough to complete it?" This teaches us the importance of budgeting, tracking expenses, and setting clear financial goals. Many people earn good money but still struggle because they fail to manage it properly. Writing down a budget, eliminating unnecessary expenses, and creating a savings plan are practical ways to apply this biblical wisdom. Financial discipline also means avoiding the temptation of instant gratification. Proverbs 13:11 warns, "Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it." This is why consistent saving and investing are so powerful. Instead of seeking overnight success, we should focus on long-term financial stability, building wealth steadily and wisely, just as Joseph did when he saved grain during Egypt's years of abundance. Genesis 41:34-36. Without a plan, money disappears, but when we manage our resources with wisdom, we position ourselves for growth, stability, and financial peace. And speaking of long-term financial success, that leads us to the next critical lesson: the power of investing and patience in wealth building. The power of investing and patience in wealth building. One of the greatest financial lessons in the Bible is that wealth is built over time, not overnight. In a world obsessed with quick money and instant success, the Bible reminds us of the power of patience, persistence, and strategic investing. Ecclesiastes 11:1 states, "Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days." This verse illustrates the principle of planting seeds today that will produce a harvest in the future, whether in business, savings, or investments. The Bible also warns against short-term thinking. Proverbs 28:20 teaches, "A faithful person will be richly blessed, but one eager to get rich will not go unpunished." Many people fall into financial traps because they want fast results instead of building wealth steadily and wisely. Investing is a biblical principle. Jesus himself used the parable of the talents, Matthew 25:14-30, to show that God expects us to multiply what he has given us. Those who invested their talents were rewarded, while the one who buried his talent out of fear lost everything. Investing also requires wisdom and diversification. Ecclesiastes 11:2 advises, invest in 7 ventures, yes, in 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land. This means not putting all your money in one place, spreading your investments across different opportunities to minimize risk. Whether it's real estate, stocks, businesses, or savings accounts, diversification is a key strategy that protects and grows wealth. The key to biblical investing is faith, patience, and discipline. Just like a farmer doesn't see his harvest immediately, wise investors trust the process, knowing that God blesses those who manage their resources well. But what happens when debt is standing in the way of wealth building? That leads us to the next crucial topic, the dangers of debt. What the Bible warns and how to break free from it. The danger of debt, what the Bible warns and how to break free from it. Debt is one of the greatest financial burdens a person can carry, and the Bible strongly warns against it. Proverbs 22:7 states, "The rich rule over the poor, and the borrower is slave to the lender." This verse is a powerful reminder that debt creates a form of bondage. It limits financial freedom, increases stress, and can lead to long-term struggles. While some types of debt, such as strategic investments, may have a purpose, the Bible cautions against reckless borrowing and living beyond one's means. One of the biggest financial traps today is consumer debt. Credit cards, car loans, and excessive spending. Many people get caught in a cycle of borrowing to survive instead of building wealth. Romans 13:8 gives a clear principle. Owe no one anything except to love each other. This doesn't mean debt is always sinful, but it highlights the importance of living within our means and avoiding financial slavery. Before taking on debt, we must ask ourselves, is this helping me grow, or is it making me a servant to lenders? Breaking free from debt requires both practical steps and biblical wisdom. First, it starts with a mindset shift, understanding that financial discipline is an act of obedience and stewardship. Second, it involves creating a repayment plan, prioritizing high-interest debts, cutting unnecessary expenses, and finding additional sources of income. Just as Joseph prepared Egypt for 7 years of famine, Genesis 41:34-36, we must take action today to secure financial freedom tomorrow. Being debt-free is not just about financial relief. It's about positioning yourself to build wealth and give generously. Imagine how much more impact you could have if you weren't tied to debt payments. And once financial burdens are lifted, the next step is ensuring that your business and career are built with integrity. Which brings us to the next topic, why honesty in business opens doors to true success. Integrity and honesty. In business, the principle that opens doors. In today's world, many believe that financial success comes from cutting corners, manipulating people, or chasing profits at any cost. But the Bible teaches that true success is built on integrity and honesty. Proverbs 28:6 states, "Better is a poor man who walks in his integrity than a rich man who is crooked in his ways." This verse is a clear warning. Wealth gained through dishonesty is temporary, but those who build their finances on integrity will experience long-term success and peace. Integrity in business and finances means being truthful, fair, and responsible. Proverbs 11:1 warns, "The Lord detests dishonest scales, but accurate weights find favor with him." This principle applies to both small and large financial decisions, whether it's paying employees fairly, offering honest products, or refusing to engage in shady business deals. Many people seek shortcuts to wealth, but dishonest gains often lead to downfall. Just look at the many businesses and individuals who rise quickly through corruption only to fall just as fast. One of the greatest examples of integrity in the Bible is Joseph. Despite being falsely accused and imprisoned, he remained faithful and trustworthy in every situation. Because of this, God elevated him to the highest position in Egypt, making him second only to Pharaoh. Genesis 41:39-41. His story teaches us that God blesses those who remain faithful, even in difficult circumstances. When we operate with integrity, we attract God's favor and the trust of others, opening doors that money alone never could. Living with integrity also means honoring our financial commitments, paying debts, treating customers and employees fairly, and giving back to the community. True wealth is not just about how much money we have, but about how we earn and use it. And that leads us to the next key to biblical financial success, the role of gratitude and contentment in achieving true wealth. Gratitude and contentment as keys to true wealth. In a world that constantly pushes for more money, more success, more possessions, it's easy to feel like we never have enough. But the Bible teaches that true wealth is not measured by how much we have, but by how content and grateful we are with what God has given us. 1 Timothy 6:7 states, "But godliness with contentment is great gain, for we brought nothing into the world and we can take nothing out of it." This means that no matter how much wealth we accumulate, it will never satisfy if we lack gratitude and contentment. Many people fall into the trap of comparison, constantly looking at what others have and feeling dissatisfied with their own financial situation. But Proverbs 15:16 reminds us, "Better a little with the fear of the Lord than great wealth with turmoil." Financial peace comes not from having millions, but from recognizing that everything we have is a gift from God. Instead of chasing what we don't have, we should focus on stewarding what we do have with wisdom and gratitude. Gratitude is also the foundation for financial growth. When we appreciate what God has already provided, we develop a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. This leads to wise financial decisions, saving, investing, and giving, because we no longer act out of fear or greed. Jesus illustrated this principle in the parable of the talents, Matthew 25:14-30, where those who were faithful with little were entrusted with more. When we show God that we can handle what He has given us, He blesses us with more. Living with gratitude and contentment doesn't mean we stop striving for financial growth. It means we stop striving out of fear and insecurity. Instead, we build wealth with peace and purpose, knowing that God provides for His children abundantly. And speaking of abundance, the next key to biblical financial success is the power of generosity and multiplication. Generosity and multiplication, the biblical secret to abundance. One of the greatest financial principles in the Bible is giving leads to multiplication. While the world teaches that holding on to money increases wealth, God's system works differently. Proverbs 11:25 states, "A generous person will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed." This means that giving is not a loss. It is an investment in God's economy, and those who give with a generous heart will always have more than enough. A powerful example of this principle is found in Luke 6:38, where Jesus said, "Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap." God's blessings flow towards those who are willing to release what they have. This applies not only to money, but also to time, knowledge, and opportunities. When we open our hands to bless others, God opens His hands to bless us. Generosity also breaks the cycle of fear and scarcity. Many people hesitate to give because they fear they won't have enough. But God promises to provide for those who trust Him. 2 Corinthians 9:6 teaches, "Whoever sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and whoever sows generously will also reap generously." Giving is an act of faith. It proves that we trust God to be our provider rather than our bank account. The secret to biblical wealth is simple. Money is a tool, not a god. When we use it to bless others, we step into the flow of God's abundance. But giving should not be done for selfish gain. It should come from a heart of obedience and love. And to fully step into financial breakthrough, there's one final key: prayer. Let's explore how to connect with God for true prosperity. Financial prayer: how to connect with God for prosperity. Many people see money as purely a practical issue, but the Bible teaches that finances are deeply spiritual. God cares about how we manage our money, and He invites us to seek Him for wisdom and provision. Philippians 4:19 reminds us, "And my God will supply every need of yours according to His riches and glory in Christ Jesus." This means that prayer is not just about asking for financial blessings. It's about aligning our hearts with God's financial principles so that we can be wise stewards of what He provides. One of the most powerful financial prayers in the Bible is found in 1 Chronicles 4:10, known as the prayer of Jabez. "Oh, that you would bless me and enlarge my territory. Let your hand be with me, and keep me from harm, so that I will be free from pain." Jabez prayed boldly for God's financial and territorial expansion, and the Bible says God granted his request. This teaches us that God is willing to bless His children, but He also expects us to ask with faith and purpose. However, financial prayer is not just about asking for money. It's also about seeking wisdom, discipline, and opportunities. James 1:5 states, "If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given to him." Instead of simply praying for wealth, We should pray for the wisdom to earn, manage, and multiply wealth in a way that honors God. When we combine faith with action, generosity with discipline, and prayer with financial responsibility, we step into a life of true abundance and financial freedom. So as we close this discussion, ask yourself, are you seeking God's wisdom in your finances? Are you applying His principles with faith and action? If not, now is the time to start. Your financial breakthrough is waiting. Now that you've seen what the Bible really says about money, the question is, what will you do with this knowledge? It's not enough to just hear the truth. You must apply it. Will you keep facing the same financial struggles, or will you start following God's principles for wealth and abundance? The choice is yours. Think about it. What would your life look like if you truly embraced biblical financial wisdom? Imagine being debt-free, having more than enough to bless others, and living without financial stress. This is not just a dream. It's possible when you align your finances with God's plan. But everything starts with action. What's the first change you can make today? Comment below and let me know. Write in the comments, "I will follow God's plan and I will prosper." And watch how this powerful declaration will transform your finances and business this year. If this message has been valuable to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. Consider supporting our ministry through the link in the description. And if you want to keep learning how to build financial freedom through biblical wisdom, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future insights. Let's grow together in wisdom, prosperity, and faith.